Hello, Ron here, aka Matt, and welcome back to some more Star Citizen. Now, today I've decided, with the Starfarer being in hangar, the review I did was kind of a quick run around in excitement, showing it off. I've not really taken the time to look at it in detail and point out some of the aspects that I think may involve some cool gameplay or just cool features that may have gone unmissed. So just the way I'm going to break it down is we'll do the exterior first. If that takes too long, then it'll go part 2 into the cargo bay. But if I can fit the exterior and the cargo bay in one video, then I'll do that. We'll see. Anyway, as I say, we'll break it down, and then we'll have the front room, or the what do you call it under here? The cargo, the docking collar bay room, and then we'll do it by floor, perhaps seeing how much information I can pull out of it. Anyway, to start with, obviously this is in the biggest hangar that they've made, and this is to accommodate not only the Starfarer, but other ships, they say. They haven't specified which other ships, but there will be other big ships that are coming in, so the Starfarer may not just be the biggest one that'll fit, but I'm pretty sure it's close to the biggest one. Anyway, so we'll start with the exterior. First thing you can notice is the intake. If you look right in between, just under the MISC sign, you've got this little grill on the front, and this is where the fuel, when you're flying through these gas giants, the fuel will be absorbed, so sucked in through there, and then converted into the fuel in your refineries. Now, it looks as though this can actually be closed and opened as when when needed, basically. So if you are approaching a gas giant, you can open it up, suck in some fuel, and refine it. The other things I wanted to point out is this on the sides here and pretty much all around the ship. These little doobars here are little maneuvering, not little, they're maneuvering thrusters, and compared to single-seat fighter ships, they are huge, because obviously more thrust is needed to push this ship around, which is very, very cool. Underneath we have the access point to the EVA room and the docking collar. As you can see there, it says docking collar. So this is where, when you dock with other ships, this will attach to their docking collars. We can actually open it by jumping. Can't get in this way, not yet anyway, but I assume we will be able to get in sooner or later when EVA is, well, when we're in space. Let's just close that up again for the sake. There we go. It's not easy. So there's lots of intakes around. I'm not sure if this is to help with the cooling, perhaps. Also, there's a lot of access points. Now, you'll see them all around the spot. Let me try and find one, he says. So here's one. I'm not sure if these are true access points, maybe for repair or maintenance, whether or not they're just there to sort of give some cool aesthetics to it. Who knows? Also, you've got 4 size 4 weapons, 2 of them mounted there, 2 on the other side, as well as what appears to be 1, 2, 3 turrets, which we'll point out later. Hopefully we can get onto the roof somehow. I think we have to jump off and kamikaze our way down. We'll figure it out. But anyway, the most noticeable thing about this ship is one of the most noticeable things is the skids, the landing skids. They are absolutely huge. Obviously, for such a big ship, it needs to have quite robust landing skids and whatever they call them, landing pads. Now, these obviously fold up into the ship when taken off. It looks very cool, very detailed. Hopefully, I know they're working on landing at the moment, especially for bigger ships. So hopefully, there'll be a bit more of a cushion to landing, rather than the obvious current sort of solid skids. There's no suspension. I do apologise for my phone. I've just turned it on silent. Anyway, let's crack on. Again, there's lots of exterior access panels. There's 3 there. You've got ones up there. They look like they've got little handles on. Now, this is kind of cool, because I remember in one of the story Larix series on the Jump Point, a little short stories that have been written for the end of Jump Points. She actually had to EVA and fix a hull breach, which was very cool. So she got into the EVA suit, she jumped out of a ship, EVA'd around, and fixed one of the panels. Now, this is something that will actually have to happen. Now, whether or not these panels will contain subcomponents or components that need to be accessed, I don't know. I don't know if they're all going to be internal. But I'm sure if you took a big hit to the side here and oxygen or whatever was being, a proper hull breach, you would have to EVA around and fix it, clearly. So, onto the drums. Now, these are very interesting. We have 2 of these at the front, which are different to the 6 at the back. Now, these are the refinery tanks. As you can see, RT2 there, and there's RT1 over there. So what will happen is the fuel will come through the front intake, travel through the ship's pipes into these tanks here, and then they will refine it. And then I would again assume that you would be able to filter it into whichever tank you please, because if you are getting more than one type of gas, you don't want to mix them or combine them for obvious reasons. So perhaps this could be used for nitrogen, that could be used for your boost, and then your regular fuel and stuff. And each one will contain different fuel. We'll take a closer look at the panels up there when we get to that point. But I would expect that it'll tell you how much you have of each in reserve. On the outsides, now I'm not sure, that central triangulated circular point, if that explains it well, I reckon is a way to extract the fuel while planet side. So if you come to a fueling station, or in space to a fueling station, they would probably attach a hose to that rather than using your in-flight ship hose system, and remove the fuel from this tank. And the same would go for there as well. I don't know if these 4 little nobules sticking out the ends here are anything to do with that. That looks more like it pierces the hole to open up the gap. Very much like when you're pumping up a tyre, I would have thought. But yeah, so that's another way of making money. It looks like the whole thing actually opens because those clamps, those 3 clamps that are sort of triangulated around that circular part, look like they actually fold out with their hydraulic pump. So that may be a way of opening up the valve to steal the fuel as well, perhaps. I have just thought of that now. That's kind of cool. But yeah, and then the 6 rear fuel tanks, these will fill up with whatever you want. And yeah, maybe if they get ruptured, you'll need to repair them. I'm sure that would be a part, because I know they're protected by shields, and I'm sure that they have quite a robust metal, I don't know, armor plating or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they would still be able to take damage and need to be repaired. And if you took damage on one, the fuel will leak into space and you'll have to repair them. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that does come in. It sounds like it might be, but we'll see. Anyway, the rear skids are here, and up there, as we know from the walk around they gave us, this is the huge thruster just to take off. There's one on the other side as well, because obviously they didn't have that to start with. They just had these little manoeuvring thrusters, and it's clearly not going to be enough to push a ship of this size off the ground. So that, well, in gravity especially, so this is what's going to happen. So the flames or whatever, the thrust will push down here and lift you off the floor. Right, so moving further round, you can see up here on each side there is the turrets. Very cool looking turrets, and again you can see the scale. It's hard to see the scale when in first person, but when you go into third person and you're looking up, it's just insane how big this is. This is much bigger than many buildings around your local town, I expect. But you got your silly spoiler that people don't seem to like, but I don't think it's going to have too much effect on the turret in the centre. But it does look very cool. I like the thrusters, the 2 thrusters there on either side, and then the main thruster in the centre, which is absolutely huge. Underneath here is the walkway. It does look cool. It looks very industrial. You can see it's like a refinery, I don't know, station that we see today, where people can walk on these metal walkways, access these sort of tanks and so forth, and fiddle around with them. The piping is cool. The colour and the detail is just insane. I do love the ship. So much attention to detail here. And I'm sure all these bolts and attachments and all these things around here will have some purpose somewhere. It's just unsure what yet. But anyway, let's try and get on the roof, and we'll take a look up there. So unfortunately, they've changed the design of the hangar a little bit from when it first came into the PTU, and I can no longer jump off the edges here. And the table, I know they fixed that. Those 2 windows you can see in the centre of the top of the ship is where the table is in the canteen, and you could actually jump on top of there and glitch through the ship. But unfortunately, it seems like they've taken all these options away. If there is a way, do let me know. I'd like to be able to get access to the roof still. But as you can see from here, we'll just take a look from the top. You can see the main turret there, very, very big. Nice structural turret that looks like it could take quite a beating. On the top, you've got another sort of funnel way in there, which looks like it could be for cooling again. Unsure. There's 2 manoeuvring thrusters closest to me on the top, and then further over there on the other main sort of side thrusters, there's another one there. Not really much else to see on top of the ship. But there are windows and so forth that you can see from inside. We'll have a look and I'll try and show you where they are on the exterior. But anyway, I'll leave it there because this is about a 10-minute video, and I think it's nice to have them quite concise so that you're not having to take too much time out of your day. Plus, editing and rendering will take forever. But anyway, this is the first exterior look, detailed exterior look of the Starfarer. The next one I'll do of the cargo bay. I think it would be quite quick in the cargo bay, so we'll call it per floor. So maybe ground floor being the cargo bay and the front docking collar, and then after that, we'll do the next floor up, which is the balcony, the cockpit, and certain areas, and the back walkway as well, which is going to be cool. Do let me know what you think. I hope this is going to be helpful. I do enjoy looking at the ship in such detail anyway, so there's so much hidden gameplay that could be snipped out of these little areas of the ship that's just worth pointing out. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter, and I shall see you again for part 2.